regarding another topic, bilateral investment treaties. See, this I have discussed earlier from the mains point of view, but from your prelims point of view is also very important. What are the issues involved? What type of question you can expect from bilateral? See, I'm telling, if you see the issues, what has happened, there have been lot of current related issues in relation to our external sector. That is, we have discussed regarding the tax treaties, okay, trade related issues, especially from WTO. Then we have GAR, that is very important issue. Then this treaty on, that is investment treaty, bilateral investment treaty. Now try to understand that these are very, very important, because these are the issue the government have taken a very firm stand. Government have a stand on all these issues, and I told you, and they are different from the earlier government. So what stand the government have taken and what have forced them to take a stand, all have become very important, both from your prelims and mains point of view. Now in regarding the bilateral investment treaty, this April 1st have brought into several things. One, you know, budget, this new budget, what has happened in relation to the new budget, regarding we have discussed in relation to budgeting related thing, regarding now there is no planned expenditure and non-planned expenditure. Now while discussing tax treaty, we know that all the tax treaty have now come into force from 1st April 2017. Now regarding GAR, we know that from 1st April 2017 GAR have been implemented. Now regarding bilateral investment treaties, the government have terminated all the bilateral investment treaties from 1st April. We'll discuss that, what are those treaties. Okay, so again this date is coinciding with the several measures. Now we need to understand, just have an idea, if a question comes, what will be the potential area? So what is our major, see, what is the major thing in this topic of bilateral investment treaty? Okay, now from the concept point of view, it is, the term is very important, it is bilateral. What it is? It is bilateral. So it is between India and some other country. And what is it? It is a treaty. It is a bilateral treaty on what? On bilateral treaty on investment. So investment is playing a major role for your preparation. It's everything, because it's a very important thing, we require investment. Now regarding this, so bilateral investment treaty is a treaty between two countries in relation to foreign investment, so topic is about foreign investment. Now who invests in a country? So we are not talking about domestic investment, this treaty is about foreign investment. A foreigner investing in India and an Indian company investing abroad. So both are foreign investor, Indian investor abroading in UK or in US, that is also will come under this bilateral investment treaty. Now regarding the background, see, try to understand that till economic reforms, that is after that our new economic policy, that is on 1991. So before 1991, we didn't have any bilateral investment treaty. Reason is very simple, we were a closed economy. We didn't allow proper trade, we didn't supported the export, or so there were a lot of restrictions. But after 1991, we have liberalized and we have made our economy open. So as part of it, and we know that we had a problem of BOP crisis. So we have taken several measures, and one of that measures is that in relation to attracting investment is that we started signing lot of bilateral investment treaties, and we didn't have any experience. Since after economic reforms only we have signed this bilateral investment. So without any experience we started signing bilateral investment treaties. So in 1994, we have signed our first bilateral investment treaty with UK. From the prelims point of view, it's important. So we have first signed bilateral investment treaty with UK. That's a very important point. So before this April 1st, in which I told you April 1st, we have terminated around 58 bilateral. So I'm talking about before 1st April 2017. Before 1st April 2017, from your prelims point of view, try to understand that we had around 83 bilateral investment treaties. So before April 1st, we have signed around 83 bilateral investment treaties. And from your prelims point of view, the most important fact is that till now we don't have any bilateral investment treaty with the US. We have bilateral investment treaty with China, but not with, it's a very important point. As of now, we have not signed any bilateral investment treaty with United States. And without signing bilateral investment treaty also, US attracts major foreign investment to our country. That's different, something different thing. So be very clear. So since if a question comes, be very clear. As of now, we have not signed any bilateral. That negotiation is going on regarding India-US bilateral investment treaty. But so it means that we have not signed any bilateral investment treaty with US. Now, regarding this bilateral investment, so the basic aim of this treaty is to provide investor protection. The basic aim of this treaty, bilateral investment treaty, is protection for the investor. So investor have to guarantee that here once you invest, see he is investing in a different country, unknown country, not in his own country. So he have to be, means his investment have to be protected. So the basic theme or the basic objective of any bilateral investment treaty is that investor protection is the major objective. Now what happened after there was no issues in relation to our bilateral investment treaty, so we signed bilateral investment treaty. Till 2012, there were no major issues in relation to our bilateral investment treaty. But in 2012, for the first time, we lost a case with a private company called what is called as White Industries, which is an Australian firm, company in Australia. Now there is a funny aspect to this case, is that they have taken India. See, now try to understand that in every bilateral investment treaty, I told you the major objective of bilateral investment treaty is investor protection. To ensure investor protection, there used to be a mechanism what is called as ISDM, Investor State Dispute Settlement Mechanism. Investor State Dispute Settlement Mechanism. Investor State Dispute Settlement Mechanism. Sorry, ISDS, Investor State Dispute Settlement Mechanism. So in this dispute settlement mechanism, now if there is any dispute between an investor and the state, then the investor can take that dispute to any international arbitration. They can take the dispute to any international arbitration, and in that, if any foreign courts, international courts, give a verdict in favor of the investor, then the government have to compensate for it. Okay. So this is a key thing. So this is a key thing about, so every bilateral investment treaty will be having a mechanism for protecting investor rights. So every bilateral investment treaty will be having a mechanism what is called as investor state dispute settlement mechanism. So as per this, so in our earlier, almost all the model bilateral, say all our 83 bilateral investment treaties, we had this mechanism. In this mechanism, there is an allowance for, I told you, we didn't have any experience. There is a provision for international arbitration. So way back in 2012, before that, White Industry took India to this international arbitration, and we lost a case there. That time, Indian government realized that okay, there is a problem in our investor state dispute settlement mechanism. So what the government have done is, in 2000, I am just linking several things. Okay, I want to say very important thing, why our new bilateral investment treaty have certain features. Okay, so since this has happened in 2000, so we lost this case in 2012. So in December 2015, now try to understand, it is an issue happened in December 2015, and after that lot of articles came in relation to, in December 2015, the cabinet approved a model bilateral investment treaty. In December 2015, Union Cabinet have approved a model bilateral investment treaty. So what is this model? For what purpose it is saying it is a model? It says that for all the existing bilateral treaties, we will either amend it to this model, and the future bilateral investment treaties will follow this model, and any investment treaties which we have signed as part of our trade agreement. See, in relation to trade agreement, I told you the trade agreement is now not only about goods and services, investment is also involved. For that also it is a model. Now, when we are coming up with a model bilateral investment treaty, what the Indian government will do? Indian government will try to rectify the issue what we had. What is that? In relation to international arbitration. So this is the most vital point in relation to our model bilateral investment treaty. In our model bilateral investment treaty, we have a mechanism. We have in our model bilateral investment treaty, we have a mechanism, investor state dispute settlement mechanism we are having. But in this mechanism we have clearly said that, okay, for the first 5 years, if the investor is having any dispute in relation to the state, what you can do is approach domestic court, don't approach international court. Once you have exhausted the domestic court only, that means that after 5 years also you are not getting anything, then only you go and approach any international court. So this clause were inserted in our model. So this is a controversial thing regarding this investor state dispute settlement. In this we have clearly said that, okay, you need to exhaust domestic remedy or domestic courts. So that we mean to say that High Court and Supreme Court for at least 5 years. So that it has been clearly mentioned. After that you can go. So almost all the state is against this provision. So it's a very important, but you try to understand that why the government have done it. So this is one issue in regarding, so our investor state dispute in our model BIT, it is different, but in almost all other bilateral investment treaty, this international arbitration is provided. There is nothing clause like what we have. So it is a different bilateral investment, but by taking into consideration our national interest. Second thing is that, you know this while we start discussing WTO. While discussing WTO, we have discussed a very important principle, what is called as most favored nation principle. Very simple. What is most favored nation principle? It says that there should not be any discrimination. There should not be any discrimination. So it means that if you sign, so in relation to investment, see, try to understand that investment is also a chapter coming under WTO, but this I am dealing it separately. I am talking about bilateral investment treaty. So bilateral investment treaty, in almost all the bilateral investment treaty should have this most favored nation principle. It means that if India is signing a bilateral investment treaty with a country, the same provision you have to give for the other country also. So you should not discriminate. You should not give a favorable treaty to one country and not that favorable treatment to some other country. So most favored nation principle, when it introduced in bilateral investment treaty, what will happen? Then all the countries will be treated alike. Now I will tell you what has happened in relation to White Industries. White Industries is an Australian firm. So with India and Australia we have a bilateral investment treaty. With India and Australia, we are having a bilateral investment treaty. So the white industries have taken dispute by using the India-Australia bilateral investment treaty. It started litigation or arbitration under. So white industry have started the litigation under India-Australia bilateral investment treaty and took India to court. But later on, what white industries have done is, it has used the most favored nation principle, in the sense that we are having a bilateral investment treaty with Kuwait. We are having India-Kuwait bilateral investment treaty. With Kuwait, you know that Kuwait is a comparatively smaller country and oil economy. So we have given a much more favorable bilateral investment treaty for Kuwait compared to Australia. So by using this favorable bilateral investment treaty, so it started with India-Australian BIT, it took India to the court, international court, and while in the court, white industry have used this under most favored nation clause. Under most favored nation clause, what it says that, what is, if you are giving a some favor to Kuwait investor, you should give it to Australian investor also. So using this treaty, by using this most favored nation clause, what this court have done is, the international court, it has interpreted in a liberal way, and it said that it should be given to white industries also, and Indian government have been given a fine and a verdict which were given in support of white industries. So we lost this case. So we have two issues because of white industry. One is international arbitration. Second is white industries have used the most favored nation principle while taking India to international arbitration. So because of this bad experience, Indian government in the model BIT have been clearly said that, so this is a very important point. You may get, see where this is a trap. If a question comes, this is the point for you. If there is a question on India's bilateral investment treaty, this knowledge you should know that Indian government have not included, I am telling again, the government have not included most favored nation principle in its model BIT. If you are not aware of it, that will be the first statement. 1, 2, 3, 4. Model favored nation, it has to be there. See, be very clear. In India's model earlier bilateral treaty, it had most favored nation clause. Because of white industries, what we have done? Now, in the model bilateral investment treaty, we don't have so in future, nobody can't use this principle to take India. So two loopholes have been plugged. One is international arbitration. Second is, you can't use this most favored nation issue or principle. So be very clear, in our model BIT, these are the two controversial, most important. There are other issues are there, I will discuss. But if you are aware of these 2 points, if a prelims question comes, you can answer it. From there you can answer it. That knowledge will be sufficient, core knowledge. One is, most favored nation principle is not applied, it's not there in our model BIT. You need to understand why it is, what is the reason for it. They will not ask the reason. Since I explained, now you will understand it. Second is, in the investor state dispute settlement mechanism, we have a clause that a domestic, a period is there. You can't directly go and approach, or you can't directly go for international arbitration. You have to exhaust the domestic court option. That is, for 5 years, you can't go. These two things are very important. And what all things have been avoided? What all things have been avoided in our model bilateral investment treaty? One is, most favored nation. Second is taxation. So regarding this most favored nation principle, it is not there in our model bilateral investment treaty. Regarding taxation, it is not there in our. So taxation related issue, an investor, if the Indian government, that's in relation to Vodafone, you might know that Vodafone case and Kane Energy case, that when actually regarding taxation issue, we can't support the, let's say Supreme Court also have favored the Vodafone, but what I'm trying to say is that the taxation never has now to be not, see what the government have done is that it have gone for presumption, not presumption means it has said that okay, what it said that it is applicable from earlier period. So I am not going to that part, but again that by taking India's taxation laws, the law means the which has imposed the amendment the Indian government have made in relation to taxation to impose tax on Vodafone Hutch transfer. Vodafone have taken India to court. So to avoid that type of issues, India clearly said that okay. So this is generally in almost all, see this is taxation issue is not a big issue. Why? In almost all bilateral investment treaties, taxation is avoided from, most of the tax is avoided. But we clearly said that, okay, be very clear. So it's a general thing. It's not that important, but have an idea, taxation is not there. Taxation, so if there is any issue in relation to taxation, the investor can't take the state to for dispute settlement. But so be very clear, so most favored nation principle is not there, taxation is not covered. And other two things, that's very, you know it very well. That's regarding IPR, intellectual, what you studied under intellectual property rights. That is compulsory license. So compulsory license is not invoked. It's not there. Compulsory license is not there. So if the government issues a compulsory license, then the investor can't take Indian government to court by saying that he has violated my rights. So compulsory license is not covered. And then IPR also, any issue related with IPR, intellectual property rights. So these are the major thing which is avoided, which is not there in our model bilateral. So four major thing which is not there in our model bilateral investment treaty. What are that? Most favored nation principle, taxation, compulsory license, intellectual property rights. See, with logic you can know it. If you see, we have discussed all these topics. You know the concept of these things. You know what is compulsory license, what are the issues in IPR, what are the most favored nation principle. So we are not included these things in our model bilateral investment treaty. Now, so this is regarding our model bilateral investment treaty. Now the other issue is, so that happened in December, we have come with the model bilateral treaty in December 2015. Now, after this model bilateral investment treaty, we have issued termination notice to most of the countries where we have signed bilateral investment treaty. I told you how many bilateral investment treaties we have signed till now? 83. So out of these 83, to 58 countries, we have sent a termination notice saying that from 1st April 2017, this treaty is terminated. So unilaterally, Indian government said that. So there are a lot of European Union countries are there in this 58 countries. Now what about this rest 25? See, the rest 25 are countries, where we have signed bilateral investment treaty for the first time and their tenure is going to end. So these rest of the countries, the tenure, so it will be over, most of them will be over by July. Their first term is not completed, so we are waiting for the first term to get completed. And then we are not going to renew. If you want to renew, you renew with, not with the old treaty, you renew with the. So while giving this termination notice, especially countries like Canada, European Union countries have been affected. Now, we have given termination notice long back and asked them to come, let's start a new treaty, let's go for a new treaty by taking into consideration this model BIT. But almost all the countries we have given termination notice, they were not inclined to sign a new bilateral investment treaty with India by saying that in your, so nobody complained about our compulsory license, nobody complained about our IPR, nobody complained about our taxation also, but they have two issues in regarding this investor state dispute settlement mechanism and most favored nation principle. So that's why these two are very important. And European Union also clearly said, unless and until you, India and Europe or European Union sign a bilateral or renew a bilateral investment treaty, we are not going to take forward India-European Union free trade agreement. So that stand have been taken by European Union in relation to our, unless and until an investment treaty is signed between India and European Union, they are not going to take forward the free trade agreement India is going to sign with European Union. Same stand have been taken by Canada. So recently they have taken a different stand. So again, just a few 2 months back or in March, European Union and Canada, what they have done, European Union and Canada have now a new bilateral investment treaty, where in that the investor have been given right, that is in their investor state dispute mechanism, which European Union and Canada signed, is having a investor state dispute settlement mechanism where investor have been given right to take state to international arbitration. And what they have done is, while in the recent WTO meeting, informal meeting, they tried to bring this issue into the WTO agenda. It said that, okay, let's go for an investment agreement where this template of investor state dispute settlement mechanism need to be included. India in the beginning itself have said that we are not going to support this issue. There are other people like other emerging countries like Argentina, other emerging Brazil also supported India's stand, including countries like Japan, which said that it's quite difficult to implement international arbitration and other related issues. So that's the recent thing in relation to this issue. Okay, and regarding the India-US also. So we were on the verge of signing this model as the India-US bilateral. Be very clear, this point is also very important. We till this point of time, we don't have any bilateral investment treaty with US. And now US is also having a model bilateral investment treaty. India is also having a model bilateral investment treaty. But both contradicts, especially in relation to three issues are there regarding now there are three issues in relation to India-US bilateral investment. One, regarding investor state dispute settlement. Second, most favored nation. Third issue is, but US is having a problem in relation to intellectual property rights and compulsory license. Already US have put India under priority watch list country for following poor IPR regime. Now if US, so in the treaty, in our model bilateral treaties, we say that IPR and compulsory license will not be included. So if US agree with that treaty, then no US company can't take Indian government to issue regarding compulsory licenses. So US have that problem also. And that's not that important, but just have an idea in relation to what is the issue in relation to which stop. So now presently, now there is an issue. European Union is saying that, okay, unless, because see what will happen is that when there is no treaty, bilateral investment treaty between any two country, what will happen is that the investor risk premium will increase. This is the term used by Europe. See, for every investment, the investor go for a premium or something like insurance premium. So whenever there is a bilateral investment treaty, there is a state guarantee is there, state protection is there. Now between India and European Union country, we don't have any, not every country, most of the countries, we don't have any bilateral investment treaty. That protection have gone. So there is a risk involved in their investment. So the risk premium increases for the investor. Once the risk premium increases, the cost of fund increases. So when the cost of fund increases, the return also decreases. So there is a chance in future the foreign investment may come down. This is the concern. But Indian government is confident that the foreign investors is coming to India not because we have provided a very favorable investor supporting system. And also one guarantee also we said, okay, we have provided a sunset clause that those investment which have come to India from these countries where we have terminated 58 countries is protected for some more year. So we have guaranteed protection for the investment came before 1st April 2017. So all these things have ensured that as of now, even though we have terminated 58, we have given termination notice to 58 countries, it has not changed the investment flow. One of the things is that India is still a growing economy where the investor is getting a much better return. We are still liberalizing our foreign investment, especially in relation to foreign direct investment. So we have attracting more investment. So these have given confidence. Our macroeconomic indicator, especially in relation to external sector, is showing a better sign. So that all gives India. We have a low current account deficit, yes or no? Okay, if you look into so that's a very, we have sufficient forex reserves. So these all things have given the country to go for taking a tough stand in relation to bilateral investment treaty. So this is very important from your prelims point of view regarding the two things is very important. And I am telling if a question comes, they will check these two important points. That will be sufficient to answer that particular question. If a question comes, there is a chance is there. Okay, so this is regarding bilateral investment treaty.